What's up everyone, it's Endymion, and it's been a minute since I've covered the entertainment industry. Things couldn't possibly be getting worse for Mickey Mouse and his animal friends, right? Well, turns out Disney is like the Goku of woke companies. Every time something bigger and stronger shows up, Disney somehow finds a way to evolve past its limits and transform into something even more insane than before. The only difference here is that Disney, unlike Goku, seems to be evolving in reverse, and if things keep going the way they are, CEO Bob Iger might have to resort to selling his own feet pics in order to keep the megacorp from crumbling under its own bloated weight. So let's start with some Disney financials and how badly it's all going, and then we'll see what the harbinger of destruction herself, Rachel Zegler, is up to later on. To start, it looks like Disney shares have dropped to its lowest point in 9 years, as it dropped 3.6% in the stock market on Thursday, August 24th. It did increase a little a day later, but it's still the worst it's ever been. This comes after CEO Bob Iger promised his shareholders that Disney would be increasing the prices of their services across the board, while also running more ads on their platforms and cutting down costs as well in order to save what they can while they still can. One of these shows is the reboot of the Spiderwick Chronicles. The weird part is that the series is already filmed and all of its CGI is completed. But even then, Disney cancelled it and will instead shop the reboot around to other platforms, so why are they doing this, you're likely asking. They're probably going to try to see if other platforms will pay more for the reboot than Disney would make from its subscriptions alone. It's all being done to reduce the cost of original content by around $1.5 to almost $2 billion. Disney's also apparently in the talks to partner with Amazon when it comes to the future of ESPN, their premier sports network. This would create another new sub-streaming service that Disney would be able to use on platforms like Amazon Prime. It's all being done to use the content that Disney already has and find ways to monetize it as many ways as humanly possible. And while this all sounds well and good, like life itself, Disney always seems to find a way. And as of right now, this potential new sub-streaming service of ESPN will cost around $20 to $35 a month American to stream. That's like $40 to $50 for Canadian customers a month to watch sports. We're all but going into a recession, and Disney's bright idea is to charge almost 3 times the price of Disney Plus for ESPN alone as an add-on. I guess they really do think their sports content is worth that much, but I don't see the average customer being okay with that price. Not only that, but Disney Plus in general will cost even more monthly starting this fall. So Disney's big master plan idea in the wake of losing millions of subscribers isn't to lower its prices to incentivize more people to join. Their bright idea is, why bring in new people when we can just charge the people we already have more money? Yeah, that's a great idea, Disney. I'm sure there's no way the people who are sticking around will keep doing so as you charge them even more money. For a streaming service, by the way, that will have less content going forward, especially from their franchises like Marvel and Star Wars, which, let's be real, are 2 core pillars to why anyone's even subscribed to Plus to begin with. So that's your future for Disney Plus right now. You're getting way less for more money, and if you don't like it, you're an asshole, I guess. But Disney has apparently increased its selling of shares at fixed prices by around 1.4 times the normal amount this past week. They're basically trying to ensure the company has enough money and investment to save themselves from any future disasters. And speaking of disasters, let's talk about the Snow White controversy, which somehow keeps evolving into more powerful forms of awfulness as its existence plagues the Disney kingdom with its girl boss infested corpse. One of the stories that made me laugh was from Game Rant titled, Rachel Zegler's Snow White remake called disgrace by former Disney employee. David Hand, whose father directed the original Snow White movie, claims the state of modern Disney has no respect for the principles and work that previous artists achieved on these beloved properties. David Hand said, and I quote, "It's a whole different concept and I just totally disagree with it, and I know my dad and Walt would also very much disagree with it. The film's a disgrace because modern Disney is trying to do something new with something that was such a great success earlier. Their thoughts are just so radical now. They change the stories, they change the thought process of the characters. They're making up new woke things, and I'm just not into any of that. I find it quite frankly a bit insulting what they may have done with some of these classic films. There's no respect for what Disney did and what my father did. I think Walt and he would be turning in their graves, end quote. I can't imagine what it's like to see something so beloved by your family that it's likely a part of your identity as a person, and seeing it get eviscerated by people who don't care for it and only see it as a stepping stone to further their weird political ideology nonsense. It's very evident that the Disney of today is nothing like it was.
She's not going to be safe with the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
And as of right now, it's being said that Snow White will be delayed likely until May 2024. It was originally meant to release in March next year, but due to the strikes and the nuclear reception thanks to Rachel Zegler, it seems for now anyway, Snow White is currently taking the release date of Deadpool 3, which is also delayed and probably won't come till the end of 2024 or early 2025, even with the way things are going. Then of course there's Rachel Zegler herself, who is responsible for this massive mess to begin with. She's been spotted sporting a sweater that says "No tears left to cry," which I guess means people should feel sorry for her now after what she's done.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
And some new clips have shown that even in the face of insurmountable negligence and moronic responses, it just keeps coming. Here's a clip where she speaks about the strikes and more.
My dog is licking me incessantly because I think he missed me. I was gone for 2 weeks. My industry is shut down because my union is striking. I stand in solidarity with the WGA and obviously with SAG-AFTRA, which is my union. Pay your fucking writers, pay your fucking actors. I have residual checks that would shock you, and I've only made 2 movies, so I can't imagine how like Kimiko Glenn is faring and all of this, making like $27 on years and years and years of Orange is the New Black, which really put Netflix on the map. Look up ways you can help, because below the line is suffering. So are many, many actors, background actors, people who have not worked in many, many years. There's a huge percentage of SAG-AFTRA that isn't even eligible for health insurance. Think of them during this time, because an industry shutdown hurts us all. I love you all.
And here's another clip where she claims she's the best in the business.
Does pitching television shows ever get easier? No, because you never know how people feel in the moment. Never can tell if they're into it. And especially if you're a woman, they mostly just stare at you like, let's address the elephant in the room. I'm the hottest person in the world.
What's interesting is if you look at her filmography, she's only been in 2 actual Hollywood films so far. Well, 3 I guess if we count the upcoming Snow White. Both West Side Story and Shazam were commercial flops that performed far below expectations. And it looks like Snow White will be the atom bomb of failures when it arrives to stink up theaters. Meaning for an actress who thinks she's the best, her films have all lost money for Hollywood. Isn't that interesting? I find it anyway. She has a sense of overconfidence to her that has no merit or reason to exist really. When she was first cast as Snow White, she even tweeted she wouldn't be bleaching her skin, as if this was some amazingly brave and righteous thing to say. Tweets were also unearthed where Zegler would attack anybody that didn't parrot the agendas she agreed with. Here's a boatload of tweets of Zegler attacking J.K. Rowling, saying that the Harry Potter creator should have her phone taken away and people like Rowling are too confident in their opinions. Which is ironic since this is Zegler we're talking about. And one Twitter user named DataRacer117 compiled a bunch of tweets where Rachel Zegler used her platform to dogpile Gina Carano during her cancellation by Disney. She truly felt that as long as she echoes whatever is politically correct, she is basically unbeatable. And Zegler proves here that she had no issue sparking her followers to attack Gina Carano. But now that Zegler is in a similar situation to Gina, now she's tweeting nonsense like this which says, "I hope the world becomes kinder." Funny how the world must now be kinder, but only after you've been put in the same position you so enthusiastically championed a few years back on someone else. Gina had a great response to this when she said, "Now that's comedy." And for someone who champions concepts like representation, girl bosses, and all that other nonsense, Rachel Zegler had no problem breaking into Hollywood with a role she had no business playing. Back in 2021, when West Side Story was still promoting itself, thedailybeast.com had this article titled, "Why Can't West Side Story Just Cast a Puerto Rican Maria?" What does it say about representation in film when the starring character is specifically supposed to be Puerto Rican, yet casting chooses someone who is not? This article has a lot to say, and honestly, once you hear it, you'll probably dislike Zegler even more. So, and I quote, "When the casting news came out about Steven Spielberg's film remake of the West Side Story musical, I was ecstatic beyond belief. And then incredibly disappointed. Once again, the actress playing the character of Maria is not Puerto Rican, and I can't understand why. Before you grab your pitchforks, I know the effort that director Spielberg put into getting this film right, as he should have. It's common knowledge that the folks the first time around got the movie very wrong. He canvassed students and professors from the University of Puerto Rico to make sure that Puerto Ricans were represented correctly in the film, even asking what they would like to see added in. He casted Hispanic actors to portray the characters of that ethnicity in the film, which is already way more than original directors Robert Wise and Jerome Robbins ever did. He also definitely did not want Rita Moreno, who is in the remake of the film and the original, forced into wearing brownface this time around. Seriously, that happened. Even Moreno herself, who is Puerto Rican, put her stamp of approval on the film, telling the Chicago Sun-Times that Spielberg corrected all that stuff and that every Hispanic character is actually Hispanic. However, Spielberg missed a spot. He casted actress Rachel Zegler to play the part of Maria. I can't deny it, she's incredibly talented. Unlike the original Maria, Natalie Wood, she's Latina. But Zegler is not Puerto Rican, she's Polish and Colombian. As much as I want this to be enough for this remake to feel right, it just doesn't. When I sent the casting news to my mother, who is also Puerto Rican and whose own mother loved the original film, her response was less than thrilled. Frankly, she was pissed. My mother said, "I hate that, again, Maria isn't represented by a Puerto Rican actress. It's not like there aren't any Puerto Rican actresses out there, I won't see it." I agreed. Colombian and Colombian Americans have their fair share of struggles and triumphs in this country, and I have no issue with Zegler. I have an issue with Hollywood once again fumbling the easiest of opportunities to elevate a Puerto Rican actress. They seem to think as long as the actors are Hispanic, that's enough. End quote. So it's very interesting that for someone who champions diversity and inclusion, she completely threw it out the window the minute it serviced her needs and opportunities. This is why I always say anyone who pushes identity politics usually doesn't actually believe what they're saying. These people, whether it's Zegler or any other Hollywood shill, will say whatever they need to in order to be accepted into the club that is modern movie making. It's also why they become far too comfortable attacking people that don't agree with them. Because they actually think they're undefeatable and bulletproof because they champion what's considered politically correct. I guarantee you, if being a Nazi was politically correct, Rachel Zegler would put on the uniform and parrot their ideals. I know that sounds extreme, but I truly do believe these weirdos will say and do anything to be accepted into the Hollywood machine. This is also why you got movies like Blue Beetle, which are looking to lose well over $100 million once it's all said and done. Like, you know, the state of Hollywood and identity politics is cooked when actors are openly just being racist and thinking it's fine. The dude who plays one of the villains in Blue Beetle was happy that there's barely any white actors in the movie. Imagine if a white actor said that about any other person. Wow, it's so nice there's no black or Latino people in our movie. They'd be cancelled by everything and launched into the sun. And for too long, Hollywood has promoted these morons like Rachel Zegler and idiots like Manuel Angel Soto, the director of Blue Beetle, for example. These people who think it's okay to attack entire demographics and sick their followers on those they disagree with. And then they cry, holding their stomachs, whimpering as the consequences of their actions didn't result into what they wanted. Blue Beetle would have done better if the director and some of the actors within it weren't openly, ragingly racist against other people. Snow White would have been a better movie if literally anybody but Rachel Zegler was cast in the role. They just need to reboot it at this point, make Terry Crews Snow White, and turn this shit into a comedy for laughs.
Yeah. Weird.
Audiences are sick of woke morons like Zegler and their pointless virtue signaling nonsense. And apparently Zegler's comments where she said her co-star scenes could all be cut cause that's Hollywood baby, as she puts it, pissed off Snow White's director Mark Webb. I honestly feel bad for Mark. He went from the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which was full of studio interference, to this nonsense, which is just good lord. I'm not kidding when I say this. After Snow White comes and goes, if it even releases at all, I wouldn't be surprised if Zegler is just ousted from Hollywood. any studio spending millions will think twice when seeing her to hire. And while Zegler thinks she's the hottest thing in existence right now, once Snow White releases, that'll make her filmography 3 for 3 in terms of being unprofitable messes that nobody went to see. Not great for someone who thinks they're undefeatable, but as they say,
It's Hollywood, baby.
what do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comments, like the video to help the channel out, subscribe for more nonsense like this, and have a great day. What should I cover next? Let me know. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.